never mistake manipulation for love. And a lot of people do. And it's not because they're weak, not because they're naive, but because manipulation rarely introduces itself as manipulation. It introduces itself as concern. I only want what's best for you. It introduces itself as protection. I'm just trying to keep you safe. It introduces itself as love. I do this because I care. And sometimes it even introduces itself as sacrifice. Look at everything I've done for you. The problem is, real love gives. Manipulation keeps score. One of the hardest realizations you'll ever have is recognizing that someone can say, I love you, and still consistently choose behaviors that slowly destroy your peace. Because love isn't measured by words. Love is measured by repeated choices. If someone constantly lies, controls, guilt trips, dismisses your feelings, punishes your honesty, or makes you responsible for their emotions, don't confuse their attachment with love. Because attachment says, don't leave me. But love says, I want what's healthy for the both of us. And those are two very different things. You see, manipulation often depends on making you feel guilty for having healthy boundaries. The moment you say no, they act hurt. The moment you choose yourself, they call you selfish. The moment you stop rescuing them, they accuse you of changing. And maybe you did change. Maybe you finally stopped abandoning yourself. And understand the healthiest version of you will disappoint the people who benefited from the unhealthiest version of you. Think about that. How many times did you apologize? And not because you were wrong, but because you were afraid of losing the relationship. How many times did you silence yourself just to avoid another argument? How many times did you carry emotional weight that never even belonged to you? You see, love should never require you to disappear. Love should never require you to betray yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. And there's a piece of wisdom I want you to remember. Control is not proof of love. It's proof that someone is afraid of losing control. Because healthy love doesn't need to shrink you to keep you close. It doesn't need fear to keep you loyal. It doesn't need guilt to keep you available. It builds trust. It builds safety. It builds freedom. And if you're only loved when you're agreeing, that's not love. If you're only valued when you're sacrificing, that's not love. If you're only appreciated when you're convenient, that's not love. That's a transaction. And you deserve more than being someone's emotional convenience. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not for how much of yourself you're willing to sacrifice. And that's one of the reasons I wrote Ashes, from survival to stability. Because so many people leave unhealthy relationships physically, but yet remain emotionally trapped by the beliefs those relationships created. They begin believing they're too much, too difficult, too emotional, too broken. When the truth is, many of those beliefs were never yours to begin with. You see, healing begins when you stop seeing yourself through the eyes of the person who benefited from your self-doubt. That's how stability returns. That's how your peace returns. And that's how you begin trusting yourself again. Never mistake manipulation for love, because the longer you confuse the two, the longer you'll keep calling suffering commitment. Because real love doesn't ask you to lose yourself. It helps you become more of yourself. And that's the kind of love you should protect. That's the kind of love you should give. And most importantly, that's the kind of love you should believe you deserve. Anything other than that, get away. Peace, blessings, love, and power.